Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am not sure how much of this I'm going to read and talk to you all about, but let's go ahead and get back into Exodus 17. We're going to read, and then I also up here have some notes to share with you guys, so I'm going to try to do that as we finish different sections of this chapter. So let's start off by reading verses 1 through 7, and then we'll talk about it. Water from the rock, Exodus 17. All the congregation of the people of Israel moved on from the wilderness of Sin by stages, according to the commandment of the Lord, and camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. Also, why is it so interesting that it's called the wilderness of Sin? That's just an interesting point I just noticed. Verse 2. Therefore the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." And Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" Hashtag relatable. Also kind of awkward that I just said that. But the people thirsted there for water, and the people grumbled against Moses and said, "Why did you bring us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried to the Lord, "What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me." And the Lord said to Moses, "Pass on before the people, taking with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people will drink." And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel, and he called the name of that place Massah and Meribah, because of the quarreling of the people of Israel, and because they tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Let's jump up to my notes here. I took notes on the water from the rock and how it makes me think that we need to be really careful to obey God with what he says, but then not try to replicate his miracles in another situation or a similar situation, and not try to do it ourselves just because that's the way that he did it before with his miracles, his guidance, or direction. Without him, that is, unless he says to do it. I also found it interesting that they moved on from the wilderness by stages. You can see that it says that right there, which can kind of be relatable when we're in wilderness seasons of our lives. There definitely, at least in mine, I've noticed stages where it'll get a little bit better, but still not, everything that I believe that God has told me that he has for me. And I feel like I can't be the only one who relates to that. Then we also have this point where it says people grumbling and fighting with Moses about the water, and then the water flowed from the rock. I'm not sure why I had those last two things noted, but I'm sure it's relatable for someone. Okay, verse 8. Israel defeats Amalek. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, "Choose for us men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses told him and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side, so his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. And so here what I took note of was using, a mixture of using what God gave you and appreciating the people that are there to help lift you up. In this section, Moses had to use the staff that he had, but he also needed Aaron and Hur to lift his arms up when he couldn't do it anymore. And the same is true when we are doing everything that we can do, and sometimes we just need other people to help and hold us up and encourage us. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that one. Okay, then verse 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this as a memorial in a book and recite it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called the name of it, "The Lord is my banner," saying, "A hand upon the throne of the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." And I wrote, "Build an altar," in quotes, as a memorial, to remember what God has done. And I don't know what that looks like in your life, but just want to encourage you to find a way to write out or memorialize something that God has done that's amazing in your life. So that is Exodus 17. I know I've definitely gone back and forth with doing 5 chapters or doing 1 or doing 3, and it just goes back and forth. I need to get in a better rhythm, but I'm still just kind of trying to figure out what that is, even though it's taking time. But ultimately, my goal would be to encourage you guys to read the Bible for yourselves and relate it to your own life. And I'm sorry I'm not actually showing my face today. It's been a really rough day, and I never actually did my hair or put on makeup, and I just didn't feel like showing up with my face on the internet like that. So I just thought, what better than to see the actual words? And I'm sorry if it was shaky or whatever. I didn't have a tripod set up, but I hope that this was meaningful, and I trust that it was meaningful for you. And I will talk to you all next time. Thank you for being here. Bye.